Hello viewers, and welcome to a bit more practice today on good old Gran Turismo Sport. We've got the Nations Cup coming up tomorrow in fact, and it's going to be extremely challenging on the Nordschleife action, and we can see there we're set up with a car, and we're going to go in and do a bit of learning the course. I had a quick practice session late last night just to familiarise myself with the GT version, Gran Turismo version of Nordschleife, something I've never used particularly before. It's not a course I'm necessarily good at or enjoy, but I will do my best to try and put in a representative lap. A different time of day for the stream today, it's a bit earlier. But at the same time I want to get a stream up today for you guys to enjoy. I'm just going to make this stream, just share the stream out there. Please do share it, say hello when you're watching, so I know you're watching, and let's get this set up, and then we are ready to go. I will at some point set up an intro to the stream so that you guys you don't have to watch me setting everything up, but we're not there yet, so I've got to make the video and learn how to do that. And one thing about streaming is it's so complex. There's so many little elements that you need to get together, and then we'll be ready to go. Where are we? Let's go on. No, it's mucking around. No. Okay. Sort this out and then be ready. Okay. And then we're going. Okay, nearly there, viewers. We'll be ready to go. Got to just get all the old social media sorted first, and then we are ready. Say hello, of course, in the chat when you're here and you're watching, and then I will know you're here. Of course, it's an afternoon session, so most of my normal viewers probably aren't ready for a stream at this time of day. What is Alan doing? And I've been asking viewers as well. I'm going to ask on YouTube, you know, what games you'd like to see me streaming, okay, that's everything going, ready to go. Time for a bit of driving action. Let's see how we get on then. So this is a challenging car to drive. Do let me know if the sound balance is on or off. And just slow for a second, and then we will be ready to go. Right, let's go. Let's learn the Nordschleife in the Super GT cars, which are super challenging to drive at the best of times. What are we doing? This is like driving masochism. So on to lap 1 of maybe 4 in this session. We'll wait and see. bit tentative through there. Too slow, too tentative through there as well. Push this more. No! Wheel on the grass. Slightly off angle on entry. That would be front car damage. Oh, that spin cost me big time, didn't it? A real shame, you know. Lost 6 seconds. And hi JD, different time of day, you know, a bit of afternoon cruising. Nice and relaxing on the Nordschleife. Lovely. Lovely jubbly. Learning though. Completely wrong. Disaster. About half a second just gone in one corner. Oh, ouch. Hi, professional. Hi, Adrian. I will just say, guys, watching, I might struggle to read comments while lapping on the Nordschleife until I get to a straight. So just so you guys are aware, it's quite challenging. The Super GT car is all over the place. It's just horrible. This is not my type of driving at all again, but I'm doing my best. Apologies, I'm not up to speed with a lot of the top guys on this track. It's just going to be a case of doing my best, I think, again. And we've got it wrong. And we got it wrong. One wheel on the grass, and that was it. Another lap wasted. But this is what practice is all about. It's one wheel wrong on the grass on this track, and it's tricky. Simply wide on both. It's alright, we're learning cornering speed every time. Oh, oh, this lap's gone to hell, hasn't it? Let's restart. Just relax a bit again. Oh, deep breath. Here we go again. Here we go again, viewers. I've not done one lap without crashing yet. I just want to do a lap without crashing. And restart. It's too late braking. Can't find the braking point for turn 1 yet. It's quite weird. I brake a meter early and it feels like you're going too slow. Restart. Damn. Serious concentration face, Stephen. Damn it, damn it, damn it. It's got to brake more. Damn it. It's intense. It's intense. Licomatics here. Brilliant. Brilliant. Nice to see you. Bit of live driving, live mistakes. Getting there though. We're getting there. We've just got to learn a few things. Hook it all up. Yeah, bit of a shame, one mistake there and you just lose your whole record basically. It's all gone. Lose all that time. And I've gone off. So that's not the breaking point there. Well, Licker, I agree. It's not. It's not one of my tracks I know very well, really. I've done it quite a few times on different games. Off, and that was I thought it was going to push me back on the track, and it didn't, quite the way it normally would. Got it wrong. Got it wrong. It's in there. Better time for me at least. I'm never going to be near the top guys on this, but at least I can... Mr. 30's here as well. Hello chaps, sorry I'm a bit quiet. The track's taking quite a lot of concentration and I got that completely wrong. And it's surprising just how much concentration it takes just to drive this. It's not just the track, it's the car. It's a real handful to drive, and I think again tomorrow in the race it's going to be just as much about how people drive the car as it is about the track itself. You know, you can literally go off on any corner at any time. Doug's here as well. Hello. This is it's the two Super GT cars that are the main ones people are going to be using. I forget the name of the car. Bear with me. I mean, my lap times are miles off the best guys, miles, you know, but I'm not hoping to, I'm not a Nürburgring specialist, and when you see the specialists, wow, they are really quick. Really quick. Whoa, damn. It's a lot of concentration. So I've just done 4 laps of the Nürburgring and it feels like a whole Grand Prix, do you know what I mean? It's so many corners. and relax. Relax. Woo! That is hard work, viewers. That is hard work, and I gotta tell you, I have no idea if I'm going to be able to do that tomorrow. I'm not disappointed with my lap. Quite happy with my laps there. I think if I can do that tomorrow, you know, into 7-minute 30s now. If I can just get to a 7:35 or something, I might be able to. You know, I just want to do a solid performance. It's very, very challenging. What you're not seeing there is the amount of throttle control going on all the time, and I have turned on a traction control not to help with the driving. The driving's fine. The big problem with this car is that at times it has, I say not always, but when you're doing long laps, the car has a tendency to just simply let go and spin out with very little or no warning. For no, you know, it hits a bump, basically. It'll hit a bump, it'll hit a crest of the road. I think we did okay there, you know. I mean, this is not a track, I'm not a specialist. When you see the Nordschleife specialists, I mean, they're amazing. So, Mr. 30, where are you? Was you saying it was 7 minute 58? That's a good lap. That's a good lap. That's a lap with one major mistake or two little mistakes. That's what that is. This track is really bumpy. It's horribly bumpy. The bumps can just spin you off at any time. And what I'm really working here is I'm not going to qualify at the front. I know that. But if you crash off, you can lose 6, 7, 10 seconds for once off the track. So my goal is purely to say, hey, let's see if we can just get it round. The only problem with this track is you can't go slowly around the Nordschleife. You have to commit to each corner properly. Otherwise, you're going to fall off the track anyway. So you've got to be quick, but have a rhythm. And that's the thing about this circuit. It does require a rhythm. There's much practice in the world. TCS, I'm using 2 at the moment. I'm using 2 TCS, so not massive amount, but enough to give me a bit of forewarning if the grip isn't there. Because occasionally this car, it's all right on most circuits, you know, normal circuits, but because you'll know there's 1 or 2 corners where perhaps traction's a bit limited. But on this circuit, because I don't have the time to learn it properly in that detail, I'm going for a more consistent strategy. I'm also not certain of what's going to happen with fuel and tyre wear. And I think lap 1 is going to be pretty similar to what you see here. I think the laps are going to be quite a bit slower in the race because I'm going flat through corners here that I may not commit to flat when I've got fuel and tyres that are wearing. So I think lap times will be as much as 10 seconds a lap slower when it comes to the race from this qualifying that you're seeing today, which will change things quite a lot. Good man, you see, great minds. And yeah, it's quite challenging. I think this is going to be one where, you know, a bit like the other day. The other day I was driving, I struggled in that E-Type Jag because I wasn't quick, and that's what made me struggle, was I wasn't comfortable. Brake bias is towards the front. It's at the -2. The trick is to make your safe lap the flying lap. Well, I think that's the thing, you know. I think you want to... It's very difficult to know in qualifying. Top time is 7:22. Yeah, I watched the top time, but I can tell that the guys who do that have, you know, they have an understanding of the track on another level. Do you know what I mean? I had a go and I just said, you know what, I can't do that. Let's race as fast as I can. I mean, the times on this track are going to be spread out. You're going to have your top boys. And I think you might even see different front runners on this one as well. Braking for me isn't too bad. The big problem for me is with this car is wheel spin in the mid gears. You know, 3rd gear wheel spin. That's it, fourth gear wheel spin. You know, it's where you're committed to a corner and you get wheel spin. And when you think about it, I'm not hanging around on this lap. You know, I'm giving it my all. But it's not there, is it? I mean, I don't think I could go more than 2 seconds, 3 seconds quicker than that, really. Oh. Right, Tyler's here, yep. Yeah, well that's the thing, isn't it? I noticed that on a few of the tracks, that a lot of the top guys are going off the track, and especially like Red Bull Ring a few weeks ago, I just thought it was all wrong. You know, everyone's going off at turn 1 and I wasn't doing anything like that, and I just thought, well, I'm going to stick to the standard road. I'm just going to follow my standard racing line of sensible driving. I could have gotten the power quicker there, but the rear end stood out a bit, and so that's why I had to come off again. Yeah, it's a shame with the corner cutting, isn't it? They don't do something about it. This is a corner where I struggled as well. I lifted a lot through there. And well, actually, do you see that's why I lifted a lot? Was because I made this mistake on lap 1, and then when I came through to lap 2, I realised. You see, I'm always learning. You know, I realised, right, this time we're gonna turn 1. I haven't got turn 1 down really. I don't really understand the best way through there. Steph says, is it easy to overtake on this track because it seems small at some corners? It's not easy to overtake because of the bumps. So I think all you can do is, it's easier to overtake on this section because it's nice and flat, track's nice and wide. But when you're actually in the twisty bits, there's no way through. You're just gonna have to battle through. And just hold your place in a way. I mean, I like, for me, I think grid placement on this track is really important tomorrow. And what happens in the first sector here, well, I say sector, the behemoth part of the F1 track, is really important, because it's like this chicane. Normally this would be an outbraking chicane we're coming up to, but it's not, because we're going into it in 4th gear. There's simply not. There's only a slight scrub of speed rather than anything else. No overtaking through any of this. So by the time you get into this section, my advice would be stay where you are, follow the guy in front and concentrate on your own driving. And that's pretty much all you can do. Half the field are going to crash on this race, I reckon, at some point. I'd be really surprised if they don't. The only places where you're not going to get that is in the top S and A plus ranks. I mean, they've got to not crash because they're the top drivers. So by here you'll have a couple of guys battling, or you might even have some freedom. Guy might have fallen off the track in front of you and you can just floor it and go for it. And that's going to be the thing that's going to be the most tricky to learn. Is here's flat, committed, flat, this is flat. This corner coming up as well, in some cars you lift. It's risky, but flat is the way. Just throw the car in, and on lap 1 will depend. Maybe we'll lift in the race because we don't know on fuel. Can't tell. Down to 3rd, coast, and on the power as it opens up for you. I expected the curb to push me back. That was unusual then. Coming up to a corner now that you can take at some speed, but you're going around this corner on 2 wheels, so you know, really pushing as hard as you can in there. You can see the car lifting a bit, down a gear, down another gear, and down to 2nd, get it in tight. Again, I'm not playing too much with the curbs. You'll notice the curbs can unbalance this car. Some cars hitting the curb in the corner will hook the back end round, but this car will just spin out. It's so rigid that the curbs are tricky. A lift here, 6th, and down to 3rd. And then when you come through here, you go on third and then you lift. There, that's a lift because there's a bump there that will spin you out. It just spin you out, especially if you're not using traction, you'll be off. Here you can go flat through here if your angle's right in fourth, then in fifth, and a lift in fifth, gently on the power on that apex. I was wide of the apex, so I lost some speed on that section. Braking, getting it down to second, don't touch the curbs, gently on the power, don't touch the curb, just use the line, keep it nice and wide, up into fifth gear, down into third gear. Trying to carry some speed, not too much. We saw it getting close to the wall there, it was too much. Didn't get the car in right. Turn in early here, car understeers. Didn't quite get that right either, but I was ready for the understeer. Now we're flat through to sixth, into the ever decreasing corner. And you're down into fifth, and then into fourth, and then into third. Gently on the power. Don't worry too much about getting too much drive and hitting that curb. It's all a bit of risk reward type scenario there, and I'm not after that 10th. Flat now. Now the top guys will be holding the line on the inside to reduce the line around the circuit. They'll probably find 2 or 3 tenths, but we're not doing that because, again, I'm playing it safe. You may be able to take this next corner coming up flat if you throw the car in hard enough, but I'm not taking that risk at the moment. Ever so slight lift, and that keeps me comfortable through the corner. Again here, you might be able to take this flat, but I'm lifting a little bit just to be comfortable, because for me it's all about consistency, not top speed. I'm not after beating the best in the world. I'm on to third. Car will slide through that corner up into fourth. I considered third or second for this corner, but the car doesn't have any drive in the bottom of third gear, so we've gone into second. Take your time, use the power to push the car around the corner. I'm not steering through the gears now up into fifth. This is quite a risky one. There's a couple of bumps, and the bump actually throws me off on this lap. So I hit the brake, and the bump, did you see that bump there? The bump was what threw me wide. You've got to brake just before that bump. Managed to keep control down to third gear here. Gives me a good drive on the exit into fourth. You can take this next section in fifth gear flat. I'm taking it in fourth with a lift. But I'm not taking that level of risk yet. Fourth, and I'm modulating into third here. I think I'm staying in fourth here. Staying in fourth. You can do that in third. Get more drive. And again, I'm going down to third here. Difficult balance. It's peaking in third. Third, you should be able to drive through the corner again here. Third gear. If you get enough speed, you can get up to fourth. But I'm staying in third. On the power, being careful. I was at the rear end, had lost it. Up into fourth and down into third, and then staying in third up into fourth. Keeping this side of the camber, sweeping the car around. You get on the middle of the camber, it will spin the car out. Lift here. You can do this in fifth with a lift through there, but I'm lifting a bit more in the end because I went off last lap. Flat through there, you can do that. I'm not doing flat because risk. Again, there's all these areas where I know I'm lifting and I don't need to, but flat through all of this. So flat, flat, flat. I'm losing about 2 or 3 tenths in this corner where I'm braking a bit early again, keeping it tight to the inside. You can take more speed in there and there, but you can also go off very easily. And again, you'll lose many seconds rather than 2 or 3 tenths. You know, so I would rather lose 3.5 seconds on the lap than take risks that could cost me 10, 15, 20 seconds and damage. Trying to get the car in early there, understeers in that corner, flat through here, but I had to have a little lift because the car was understeering a bit too much. Now optimising a gear shift here, hold it in fifth, get it up in sixth, keep the car as straight as possible, just 100% straight. Ideally, you'll coast the car across to the right hand side to minimise the turning circle on the next downhill section. So I'll just finish this lap, Jonathan. I'll get to your question there, and then flat. This is where your heart increases here. It's risky through here. Flat. Got to be flat. Then hit your brakes. Down into third. Go nice and slow in there. Don't nibble that curb. Avoid it. Gently on the power. Back end stands out there. Then on the power, and away you go. Traction control will not save you. Okay, it's like it's a guideline than a rule. Unless you have sort of maximum traction, then you lose all your speed. That's a bit of a lap there in the thought process. So now everything I've thought about, I've tried to minimise the lifts to make myself a little bit quicker. So it's not a massively different lap. Make a couple of mistakes, but again, you're just trying to find that consistent line so you know, avoid these curbs, brake before these bumps, and don't get on the power too early at these points. And it's a memory test. Jonathan's saying, I came across a video from Jimmy Broadbent with him racing Lando Norris, Verstappen, and a few others in iRacing. What do you feel separates sim racers to professional drivers and vice versa? Well, actually, I don't think there is a great deal of separation these days. All top racing drivers have to practice in simulators. A simulator can't replicate the experience of being in a car, but it can make you a better driver. A lot of what I'm talking about here, the gearing, the feel for the corners, replicates the real track. You'll come to that track and you'll know it in real life. You'll take it a bit slower at first, and you'll need to build your pace, and you'll feel more from the car. So in a sim, a car can spin out, and you'll think, oh, traction loss, spun out. But in real life, when you're in the car, you can feel the temperature in the tyres. You can feel when your tyres are gripping and when they're not, and you can feel my tyres are letting go before you're even hearing it. You're feeling it, so you're reacting to it. You feel more in contact with the road than you do in a game, and a game cannot give you that exact same feeling of grip. And what happens is, when you're turning into a corner and your tyres are cold, you'll feel the car slide, you'll feel the tyres sliding, the car's moving around a bit. When you get temperature in those tyres and you turn in, bang, it's like those tyres glue to the road. It's like they're digging in, and you can feel the car leaning where the tyres are almost stuck to the road and everything's leaning. It's a great feeling of temperature, tyres and maximum grip, and that means you know you can push harder through the corner, something that you don't get in real racing terms. So I think for real racers it's different in that sense. There's different qualities there. You know, put a sim racer in a real car, he doesn't know about any of this, so you need to be trained, you need to build up your speed, you need to get an understanding of feel for it. It's, you know, different to what you may have experienced. Having said that, there's some really good feelings you get through the wheel, feelings of traction loss, and you know, the rear end standing out the other day on the Jaguar E-Type. But then steering isn't the same. On Gran Turismo, I use steering that's much more sensitive than I would say on other games. So because you have a 45-degree angle in the stick, so you've got to try and replicate that with a wheel. It's slightly different on Gran Turismo, but you can find the fine tune. Suffice to say, a lot of the top drivers will be using a much smaller turning circle than you expect, maybe 280 degrees, you know, rather than 360 or 520. I mean, you wouldn't use that kind of degrees on this kind of wheel anyway. This would be a 360 degree wheel, because you don't feed this wheel, you know, you're just, your hands are in one place, so you need to make sure that you can hit that maximum lock, and on the game you can hit that maximum lock much quicker and turn in quicker and push the car harder without the physical need to keep doing that all the time. So it really does depend on the car. So let's talk a bit about that. Because the GR2's car's downforce, you can take some corners in full throttle. Absolutely, Citizen. I mean, quite a lot of corners I do take in full throttle here. So, but it does have a surprising cut-off in grip on the game, at least, which means that if you're not used to it, it's very tricky to react to that. Oh yes, sorry guys, let me so Tyler says, by the way, in that Jimmy B video, Norris and Verstappen were both faster in the sim than Rudy Van Buren in qualifying. Do you know, I don't think a good racing driver is a good racing driver. When you're looking at Lando Norris and Verstappen, they've played racing games and driven real cars their whole life. But not only have they done that, they've been professionally trained. And you have to remember that sim racers are not professionally trained, a lot of them. They've played games and got good, but they've never actually been told specific techniques that will aid them. Now, for example, Lando Norris and Verstappen will have been told a variety of ways of protecting your tyres and styles of driving and what happens in what corner and what gradient. They will know things that sim racers don't know. Sim racers think they know it, they have the theory, but as I say, the practice is something different. A lot of racing is not about, is that person better than me? It's about, what do they know that I don't? That's always the thing. I watch drivers go through a corner quicker and I think, he knows, and if I feel I can do it at that same speed, I'll be saying to myself, what does he know that I don't? What's his technique that's making him go 10 mile an hour quicker? Is there something? Is he doing something by dabbing the handbrake at a time, or changing gear? Is he pumping the throttle or pumping the brake in some way that works in some way? Is there something that happens in the game that's different to real life? What happens on that corner with that car for that reason? It's all about those details, and you piece that together. And once you could be driving around forever, but if you're in the wrong gear, you'll be half a second down, and you won't know that until you see what gear they're in at what time. And there's lots of little tweaks. So 50% of being quick, no, not 50%, let's say it's that last 10% of being quick, is knowing those little details. And when you know them, and you know what that driver's doing, you have the potential to match him. And then once you've both matched each other, then it comes down to a variety of different things, consistency and stuff like that. We've got Willie here as well, cool stuff here, new subscriber, thank you sir, thumbs up. Lots of racing gaming on this channel, so pretty soon we'll have some other racing games coming up as well. I'll be doing an F1 career. I'll probably be doing streams talking about F1. I'm even considering streaming when I'm watching F1 races, so you guys can hear my witty banter alongside the nonsense you might hear on the TV sometimes. Have I been, Johnson, have I been from a consultant real life sim racing, real life racing drivers? Do you know, it's a funny old industry, isn't it? You know, you're always seeing, like they have motor shows, like they'll have Autosport event, and Autosport International, they'll say, here today we've got representatives from Williams and, you know, Ferrari and, you know, Ford Motorsports, and they're all going to talk about their sim racing exploits and what they know. And I see it's all just business people. None of them have been sim racers. They've been marketing managers of a. We'll have another little replay to give me a rest. They've been marketing managers of big car companies. They've been given the job of running esports, and suddenly they're esports experts. And that's kind of how the industry seems to work. And the big problem with anything like this is when you're holding events, is making it financially viable for everybody. I think that's their objective, and they give all kinds of waffle and advice on stage, but they don't really know. I mean, I think you have to have done it all. You know, I'm probably somebody who probably could consult better than a lot of people, because I've been doing this for a long time. You know, I've been competing in competitions for probably 30 years, you know, and I won many tournaments, and Team VVV years ago was winning many tournaments, and you learn along the way. And then when you start doing journalism, you start driving real cars and testing real cars and going for training sessions, and that's kind of where sort of you learn the other side. You know, like for me, I was doing karting, but then I was doing training at Brooklyn Centre. I did GT Academy training. GT Academy training was really helpful. I did rally car training. I went to Assetto Corsa's Vallelunga circuit, did laps and testing there. I got invited by Peugeot and other companies to try things out, Porsche, and eventually you try different cars and you learn where you're comfortable. And rallying, believe it or not, was probably one of the most thrilling and exciting things I've ever done. Recently on the channel I did tractor driving, and driving tractors was just as thrilling because it's a new vehicle, it's a new challenge, and everything is different in its own way. So I'm not built for it. I'm too tall and I'm too old to get into racing now. But the first thing is, does your experience convert to the real thing? Yes, absolutely yes. Because when you get in a car and the instructor says to me, right, take me for a drive around the Nordschleife, don't go too quickly, just nice and comfortable, take me round, and he'll say to you, okay, you know the racing lines, that's great, you really know where we're starting, you've got a really good starting point. Then he'll say to you, let's take Silverstone as a better example. We'll do Silverstone, a shorter track. Then they'll say to you, right, your technique is useless. I want you to forget everything you've done. And they'll take you out for a drive, and then the instructor's completely in control, and he'll say, right, brake. And you'll be thinking, oh, I don't need to brake, I can go faster. No, brake. Third gear. And we'll take a corner, you can take him fifth in third. And then he'll say, brake again. And before you know it, you're doing everything he tells you to do without question. You're just listening to what the instructor tells you. And then when the instructor's comfortable, he'll say, right, we're going to go fourth. We're going to go fifth. Brake. And as soon as he says brake, fourth, fifth, third, you're listening, you're doing what he tells you to do. He knows that you're the driver, but he's in control. And then you're learning things, and you're looking at theory and taking your style forward. So that's what I apply to a lot of different racing games, because every racing game I've covered, and I play 40 different racing games a year, 40 to 50 different racing titles. I drive probably 200-300 different circuits in, you know, 200-300 different types of vehicle, from Wipeout, retro gaming, to speedboats, what you name it. But everything has a certain theory attached to it. And once you understand the basic theories of racing, you know, the apexes, how to approach them, it all comes together. And NF did subscribe. Thank you, sir. Adrian says, are you using a PS4 Pro? I'm using a PS4. This is a standard PS4. I see at the moment I'm kind of thinking of a PS4 Pro purely because I stream, and obviously it'll improve the image quality, but for me personally it's fine. I mean, I'm really impressed with how well it works. I mean, the thing that makes it a difficult judgment is you say, yeah, I could go out and spend that money on a PS4 Pro, part X my PS4, but there's going to be a PS5 in, like, you know, at some point announced this year to be released in a year or two. I might just hang in there. So Willie says, I noticed sim racing's come a long way in the last few years. Do you agree? 34. You know, it's come on. It's come on in terms of, you know, we didn't have proper sim racing on consoles years ago. The consoles couldn't really handle it. That was the problem. The games companies simply made the excuse that, oh, gamers on consoles don't like sim racing. Well, that's just nonsense. You just later find out that the consoles can't really do the physics justice, basically, and we saw that even more recently. I think with PlayStation 5, you're going to have massive amounts of physics and AI data. You're going to have improved cloud technologies and graphics that can simulate all weathers properly. Let's face it, rain, for example, it's very difficult to simulate because it's got a lot of particle effects. A lot going. If you can do rain properly at 60 frames per second in a high res, it's a lot of resolution. And the only game that's done rain properly, the only game, is Drive Club. Nothing has done rain as well as Drive Club in terms of windscreen, the sloshing of the water. It's really well done. A lot of games, it looks like video game rain, even on Sims. I think there is also this. There was this point years ago where it was do Sims need to look good? Well, absolutely they do, because I think when you're in the real car, you're looking at spot effects and details for where you're braking, and everything's about detail. Everything's about where your eye's looking. And if there's something not there that should be there, then that's a critically important part of simulation. Sound. The sound in the cockpit is really important. It's something that's getting better all the time. And obviously graphics technology. So everything's moving forward. And above all, wheels. You know, wheels have moved on. 10 years ago, 12 years ago, the G25 was released from Logitech, and that really was an incredible wheel. And then, you know, over the next few years we had the Fanatec Porsche rim, the Fanatec CSR Elite, we had the Thrustmaster T500, Thrustmaster T300, right up to TSXW and TGT, and of course the wheel we're using here from Fanatec. Both great wheels. The Thrustmaster wheel works better for me in my job because it adapts straight away to any game you want to play. Just turn it on, works. The Fanatic wheel often requires some tuning and setup, which is fine if you're a sim racer and you set it up and everything works. But for me, obviously, I'm sometimes playing, you know, 6 different racing games every week, and I haven't got time. So I'd have to race, having a few mistakes on lap 1 there, and then getting it together on lap 2, thankfully. GT Sport is great. You know, it does a lot right. There's still elements that they need to work on, but there's always going to be improvements in terms of physics and feedback. But I think they've done a really good job, and I know the penalty system gets a real bashing from people, but I actually think the penalty system is, for the most part, very good. It's very good. I mean, yes, there's problems like a car crashed into the back of me the other day and gave me a penalty. But you know, I've seen unfair penalties in real life on so many occasions that I think actually it's quite realistic. Let's go through some of your comments now. NF says Richard Burns Rally was for the PS2. Richard Burns Rally was it for the PS? I mean, the problem with Richard Burns Rally was great rally game, not great graphics, very hard for a lot of people at the time, didn't get well promoted, needed a wheel. Console players just didn't have wheels. Wheels were rubbish for consoles back then. Sound was horrible in GT5 and 6. It was. It's still not there yet. It's better than it was, but it's not there yet. Pete says Raceroom does the best sounds. It does. That's why it won an award from us, as did Dirt Rally. Dirt Rally and Raceroom Racing Experience have some of the best audio out there. And Assetto Corsa has good sound, as does Project Cars as well. You know, Project Cars is a mixed bag, but some of the cars sound really grunty. We love a bit of grunt. As one problem with the audio in this is that you've got a lot of engine whine and the gears and everything, but you don't have a bit of you don't have enough engine backing up the actual whine going on there sometimes. I'd like to hear a bit more in the way of grunt, bass, sort of bassy grunt, which you'd get in the real car. And also, I think occasionally, I know it sounds, a lot of people have a go at me for this, but I'd like to hear occasionally a bit of the option of a slightly more distorted sound occasionally, and more wind noise in a lot of games. So they don't have any wind noise. There's quite a lot going on in some of these cars, especially in Formula cars. So this is what you're hearing. You're not hearing the car, you just hear the wind. That's all you hear. So not quite that much wind, but you know. Marek says, how are you, Alan? If you don't mind, I asked 36, by the way. Anyone can ask how old am I? I'm 40. I'm 40, so I'm an older gamer. But I've been working in video games my whole life. So left school 16 and started working in games and been doing game shows and events. And if you watch the YouTube channel, let's see if I can. Some of you guys might not have seen these videos, so see if I. So let's see. So I used to do the occasional videos for TV, and where are we? I'm just trying to find the right chat, and then I'll. So there's a video to me playing Outrun back in 2002 when I used to do Outrun stuff like that. Oh, goodness. And if you're really bored, here's a video of me. Here's a video of me in 2003 when I used to do TV, playing racing games. Well, I used to do everything back then. I mean, racing isn't actually my specialist genre, believe it or not, when it comes to gaming. One I happen to be good at. And I enjoyed doing that at the time. So this course is going to be a challenge tomorrow. I'm gonna do my best to try and learn it. I think I'm definitely going to do some warm-up practice before the race. There's that bump again. Oh. No, I'm not in a garage. Game Ranger. I'm actually in the corner of my living room. Got a little area, so just put a curtain up. Makes it feel like a little cave. But this is a Metal Gear Solid 2 curtain. So this banner that you see here was actually from the launch party of Metal Gear 2 when it was released, and they had these round. I just snuck it away basically. It was a good party. Good party. Yeah, I'm going to do more retro gaming. I think what's great for people is when you talk about what a game was like when it was first shown, and what we felt like when we first saw it, you know, and people see things very differently now as to what we thought at the time. People think we saw games as good that perhaps we didn't, and especially with 2D games, there's a real modern game developers, and by that I say slightly younger game developers, making retro 2D games often get it wrong, because they don't understand what we liked about 2D games at that time. And so you end up with something, the wrong art style, the wrong feel, the wrong size sprites. They didn't realise that, I mean, I saw one game where I was talking about recently where sprites were, I felt, too small. And they said, well, we're doing it like it was on the Mega Drive. Yeah, but the Mega Drive was restricted. That's why they were small. Otherwise we'd have had them bigger. My brakes are at -2. I'll show you guys in a minute. I'm going to do some more running. I'm just having a break because I did 6 laps of Nordschleife and now I have a break, and now I'll do a few more, and that will complete my session today. So we've got old gamers joining us today, you old bunch. But it's good because you guys understand gaming at a very different time. Where you had one game to play and you got really good at that game. Games were really expensive. Games were less complicated than they are now. I think online has overcomplicated video games. That's my big problem with Ubisoft games. Ubisoft games are like every game you play from Ubisoft. There's always a menu you got to open with another menu and a menu. Tyler's saying, please think about older Ace Combat. Yeah, I am actually. I'm actually thinking of doing Ace Combat. If I can get hold of a copy of Ace Combat 7, I'm going to do some Ace Combat 1, bust out the memory card, and see how I get on. I've actually got my Dreamcast set up here on my PlayStation, so I can actually do that. So I am going to do some... So Mr. 30 is actually not Mr. 30. He's actually Mr. 45. What's going on there? Do you know, one thing that's weird is when you get older, there comes a point when somebody sees you as an older person one day, and you think, damn, you know, like people who grew up in the 80s and 90s are old now. It's like, and because of course a lot of people that watch on YouTube are a bit younger. They see you as sort of the old man. You think, I'm not old yet. I'm not, barely halfway there. Years before I get old. I've got another 25 years of doing racing games on YouTube before I give up. But I am intending to do more genres. You know, I do want to do other games because I play other games, but I don't stream them. And I enjoy other games and retro games. And I've got an arcade machine. I'd like to show some of that stuff and stream some of that. And hopefully some of you like it as well as the racing. I see, Mr. 30. Yeah, yeah. Javier's here as well. Hi everyone, have an amazing day. Thank you. Say hello in the chat. And it's good to see more people tuning in on Twitch as well. It's great to see. It's weird how the different channels work. YouTube always seems to be quite popular, but Facebook has kind of died, and Twitch has sort of grown, but not as much as until you become a affiliate on Twitch. You don't get properly promoted, I guess. Sort out the following thing, and oh, I see. Right. Why is it not showing the other ones? Not showing my other donations. I will sort that. Right, I'm going to do a bit more practice. Hang in there, guys. I'll be straight back. Oops. Okay, do some drive-in views, and then we will be ready to go. Rectangle sort of taxel is turned 21 6 months ago. Wow, 21, eh? When was I 21? 99, I turned 21, so before the internet, thankfully. Before mobile phones, well, not before the internet actually. I was working at a job and I was just getting into the internet then. My first PC with the internet was in 97. The internet was rubbish back then, really rubbish. It was slow. Really right up until 2003, when you used to go to Apple trailers to watch a movie trailer. You'd normally sort of press play to watch the trailer in a little tiny 360p box, and then you'd walk away and make a cup of tea and have a sandwich, come back and the trailer would be ready to go, maybe, if you were lucky. Hi, Richard. Yeah, I mean, McLaren Shadow are doing their thing, and I think the problem with like McLaren Shadow and I think Race of Champions recently is is it's very PC centric. Do you know what I mean? There's all these awesome console gamers out there, and unless you've got Assetto Corsa and mods or whatever, then Wow Factor and mods. I mean, this is a very niche community. Remember, you know, in the scheme of things. So you're not going to find the best in the world. You'll find the best of a small portion of very good players. And I think when it came to the F1 esports event, you know, you've got console gamers just really showing what they can do. I mean, it was dominated by console gamers, basically. Oh, that's in my way, isn't it? I've got that wrong. So a bad first sector, but that's okay. We need to do sectors like this, because it's sectors like this that you're going to do when you're in quali. You just got to keep your head together and say, you know what, got that wrong. Oh, it's all gone to pot, isn't it? Well, let's just do the lap. So second down then that sector. Just shows, doesn't it, you know? That's because I'm talking and driving. Stuntman recognises that bloke in the Outrun video. What's he doing these days? What's he grown up to achieve with his life? 20 years later. I should play Outrun too, just for a laugh. I should concentrate, because there's a lot to concentrate on here. I was reading comments saying I should have been concentrating on the driving. It's all your fault, the thing you want. Davy Skills, absolutely. Yeah, Davy Skills was an excellent BV driver back in the day and had incredible skills, Dave Kelly. I mean, he was one of those people that didn't need to think about his driving too much. He just did it. It just came intuitively to him. And I think at that point I was thinking too much about oh, I've gone in wide. I was thinking about too much about trying to be quicker to compete rather than just. Now I'm not. Now I'm thinking more about I can't beat these top guys. I just can't. I just don't have the time or the commitment, and in some cases I just don't even know what they're doing. You know, it's just it's a whole minefield, and also there's a point of where it goes from being fun to not being fun anymore. It suddenly becomes no, got it wrong again. That's all right. I know what I'm doing. I'm just trying to see if I can take that corner faster, but it's still going to be a lift for me. Still going to be a lift. Have you seen any hackers in sim racing? Oh, that's a good question. I guess I have, but you'll never see the hackers. The people who do things like that really get anywhere when it comes to esports, because they might win online rounds, but when they turn up to the actual events and they don't have, you see it a lot more in FPS games than racing, to be fair, but there's always things that, you know, strange things that happen with some drivers that you think they're clearly doing something, but no, too wide, terrible. Good experience. Oh yeah, the 7:22 lap time that someone's done is just on another level, isn't it? You know, it's. But the thing about practice is you just want to. We're not really doing consistency because we don't have time to do a consistency practice. You know, but at least if we can, you know that we have a basic lap time. I can't compete with the top guys tomorrow, but at least if I can figure out, right, that makes me crash and that makes me crash, so don't minimise the chances of crashing, then that's it, that's all you can do. I think almost everybody's going to crash tomorrow, apart from the top guys. Alright, let's see if we can at least do a clean lap and get in a rhythm. Terrible sector. Need to do better than that tomorrow. Okay, Adrian, thanks for tuning in. Slight mistake there. Slight mistake there, so lost the second. Damn. Just going to concentrate for a second, guys. Hopefully I can try and finish this lap without crashing. I will be streaming the race tomorrow, 5 PM. Kept it together. second down. No way to gain it now. Tom, I'll come back to you in just a second. Lost a second there. I'm driving. Can somebody help Tom just with the car art model? I completely forget. It's the Super GT GTR Nissan, isn't it? I'm driving here. Damn it, went wide. Doesn't matter. Still learning, aren't we? We're learning all the time. It's amazing how you can do a lap that's that long at that speed and only be 1 second off. Do you know what I mean? It's still a funny thing. Too tight in entry there. Done it wrong. Just shows, doesn't it? You know, you just get one bump wrong. You lose like 2 seconds just like that, but we won't give up because we want to. Just imagine that happens in qualifying, and you've got to say, calm, forget it, it's happened, just still do my best. No, got that wrong as well. Do you know, I was reading something then, I shouldn't have been. Right, let's exit for a second. Break for a second. Okay, so we've got various improvements, but we're down on quite a few places as well. Have a little look at a bit of replay for the moment as well. So that's the one, Lookomatic. Thank you. I can't remember the details when I'm driving sometimes, or at all, honestly. Javier says, the wheel is beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. It's a really nice wheel. Wow, there's a lot to remember on this track, isn't there? Tom, thank you. I'll do my best tomorrow, you know. I'll be pushing as hard as I can, and as I have in all these races, to try and, you know, I started off a month ago, ground zero, bottom rank. And I've improved from there. Now in the top 1% of players, A rank, 36th in the UK on Nations Cup, and 198th in the world on Nations Cup, or in Europe in Nations Cup, and still improving. You know, so it's going to be good once I bring it all together. And I haven't reached my limit yet. That's the thing. I know I've got a lot of improvements to make and time to find, so right, let's get in, let's do some track practice. What time we got? 5 o'clock, so I am going to finish off pretty soon, but let's continue with a bit of racing. Right, I won't sing to you. So let's see. All right then, let's see. Okay, so I've been asking viewers on Twitter, and I'll ask on YouTube as well, what games you'd like to see me playing, do let me know. Okay, so I'll go again, see how we get on. Completely terrible turn one. And we're well behind already. I was trying something there I haven't done before. Didn't work for me. But there are techniques to this game that I haven't actually explored yet that will make you quicker once you get the basics down. And I will discover them. Just trying some things out now. So, and then tomorrow will be serious concentration. Oh, got hooked on the corner. Wow, back end stood out there, didn't it? Traction control saved me there. Too fast. Damn. Can we take this flat? Let's try it. Okay, we can. And that meant the braking distance changed. So that was interesting. When I say braking distance changed, it changed more than I thought it had, basically. Not enough. Bit of braking required. More lift. More lift. That's the 4th time I've crashed there, but it's a tricky corner. That's fine, that's fine. Testing some braking. So I may as well test it now so that I know what's what. It's giving me a penalty. Will it let me take it to the line, or do I need to restart the old? So turning in early is the way there. So, thinking about how many laps this race tomorrow. It will be 2 laps tomorrow, which makes it kind of confusing because is it worth doing a pit stop? I don't even know where the pit lane entry is, honestly, as it happens on this track. Don't even know where it is. Where is it? That's something I haven't even looked at yet. Having said that, with only 2 laps, one would say no, wouldn't they? Because that'll be it there. Okay, so they've got a pit lane entry there at the end, so you can dive in there if you want. But the question is, will the tyres hold on? Are they putting enough fuel in the car? Or are they... Are they putting enough fuel in the car, or are they not? That's something we don't know. So tomorrow the first race will be a journey of discovery, I think, and then I'm probably not going to stop. So I can't think why the car shouldn't be able to do 2 laps. Got it wrong again. Damn it, damn it, damn it. Still got to learn that corner. Got that wrong as well. Touch some grass. Oh, I've lost my rhythm now. That's a bit frustrating, that was. Felt really sort of in the zone then as well. Let's go. So, can we do this flat or not? Can we do it flat or not? Don't think we can. I think it's a lift still. So we'll go have a little lift. Flat through here. Okay. No, shame about the mistakes, you know, we've lost 5 seconds on the mistakes there. ICM, I can see you at the corner of my eye, better not talk. And I made a mistake. Too wide. Yeah, to Marco, unfortunately it covers a bit too much of the screen at the base there. I prefer just to be able to see the road surface. That's why I don't have the times there. Yeah, it was going alright, wasn't it? And it would have been a better time, you know, perhaps a 2:35 even, but we've lost all of our time now, so... And we've made a mistake at the end anyway. What car is it? Yeah, it's a car that bounces around a lot and it's really hard to drive, even though it goes fast. It's hard enough to drive on Suzuka, let alone on the Nordschleife. Every single lap is a discovery. Damn. See, that's the sort of thing in qualifying that, you know, can just happen, can't it? You know, just turned in a bit too early. And look at that, 4 seconds gone. You're lucky if you've got one more lap in you. Well, you haven't. It's going to be one lap quali probably. It's disappointing. We went for a better lap then as well. There's really no point continuing that lap now. Let's retry. One last retry. It's such a long lap. You just don't get to do many laps, do you? That's the problem. I've only done like 12 laps or something, you know, and it's really tiring. Whatever, I've done about 15 laps probably. Damn. I'm going to stop there. Okay, it's quite hard to talk and drive on this one. Guys, it's I got to say it takes a lot of concentration on this one, and it's looking at there's a lot to take in terms of the handling, bumps on corners. Every lap is different. You know, you can be 1 mile an hour too quick into a corner, and then you're lifting and reacting, and sometimes there I was changing into gears on corners I've never changed into to stop the car sliding off. So I think tomorrow is going to be interesting. It could be really good. It could go perfectly and you don't make any mistakes, or it could be hello Tim as well, practice making perfect. Brilliant. Let's check that. And let's see now, what do we got here? Just got to recover for a minute. That was good. That was a really good run. Then I'm not far off, am I? I think that, I think you could see another sort of few days of practice, and I think I would, maybe a week of practice. But I'm quite happy with just 2 days practice to get it down to the 230s. I'm 10 seconds off the. It's like Stephen's saying there. I mean, there's guys that do this in there all the time. Exactly. I mean, I'm not a specialist of this circuit, and I'm basically learning this circuit, doing 15 laps and then going into a race is, difficult. So tomorrow, I'm going to finish the stream, but I just want to say thanks for tuning in. Tomorrow, I'll do the best I can again, and as I say, you never do mistakes on purpose. It's just that it's so hard to drive this car with all the bumping and everything that's going on that one wheel on the grass and your race is over tomorrow. So it's going to be no talking, focus, but I'd like to think that hopefully we'll be in. I'd like to be between 5th and 10th place at the start. I think if I'm outside the top 10, I'll be a bit disappointed where I am, and I'll do everything I can to push the car to the limit, basically. And I think that's about it really for today, viewers. I hope you've been enjoying the hardcore driving action that's been going on here today. It's been a bit of silence, but it's always a great challenge around the ring to try and maximise your speed. And that's it. I think that's it for this stream. Thanks for tuning in today, everybody. Do like, the video on YouTube. Do subscribe. Everything you do supports what we do, and I really appreciate all the support as well for everything. So thanks for tuning in, and good chat. And as I say, I'm getting organised with my new structure for 2019, so you'll see a lot more variety in the games. It's not all going to be GT, but at the moment, as I work my way through Nations Cup and get my rank up, there is still quite a GT focus for the next sort of few weeks until Dirt Rally comes out, and of course I start my F1 career, which will be starting any time now. I'm just deciding what format to do it on. Oh goodness, CM. Well, it's a challenge. I mean, as I say, I've just done about 15 laps, and that's me exhausted now. So I'm going to have a break, have a drink, and I'll say goodbye to all of you. Have a good Friday evening, and I'll be streaming tomorrow for the race, about 4:45, 5 p.m. start on the race, and doing my best. So that's it from me for now, viewers. As ever, more soon.